we go. In case you didn't know, you can pick up free Battlecode t-shirts and swag out at the front before filing in.
I'll just like, yeah, no, we can make something
yeah. It's on the children. It'll be on the Slack.
3, 2, 1.
We don't have it on the Slack.
That was after
Good.
13 seconds.
And it'll update it. For those of you just filing in, if you're a competitor, please sit close to the front in the front few rows. That way you can file over to our on-decking area and onto the stage efficiently.
Okay, so it turns out that the stream latency since you're on my stage has a 13-second latency. Is there any sort of fuckery we can do, like, oh, can we add you to the Discord chat? Yeah, share the screen as part of the chat.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, first off, Discord's gonna edit. Can I just mute all my Oh, okay, perfect.
You might want to also turn off out.
Good. And that's fine. Okay. Okay. All right. You. You can get your testimony. There we go. Okay. Cool. Add me to the. Cool. It has a... We're getting closer to the start. Who's excited to see the top 16 teams from around the world compete? Your call. I think we're still filing in. How about we... Yeah, they were trying to get us here. And the single platinum.
Oh, but when it's there, you have to unmute them, which means they're going to come from the speaker.
No, they didn't come from the speaker on that.
Like that speaker. So what do you kind of play?
This is an open video. Pretty fine. No, they're plugged in both. So for those of you just filing in, if you're a competitor, please sit close to the front so that you can come up to the stage easily. You can also see that we have a bracket on both sides on the smaller screens to see who will face who. You can start in 30 seconds.
Welcome to the final tournament of Battlecode 2018! Woo! Our finalists have fought long and hard to get here. 4 weeks ago, our competitors started their Battlecode engines, opened their text editors, and started coding. And oh, how they've coded. They coded until their fingers bled and their carpal tunnel was aggravated. They coded through freezing blizzards and aching famines here at MIT, where our favorite grocery store just shut down. They resolved merge conflicts in Australia and dove deep into debuggers in Spain. Their programs were sharpened and molded and twisted until they were vicious and hungry for digital blood. And then they were unleashed. Our competitors watched with bated breath as their virtual champions fought on the surface of Earth and Mars, scrimmaged on the scrimmage servers, sprinted through the sprint tournament, and clashed in the seeding tournament. 6 days ago, hundreds of teams were slain in the qualifying tournament. Only 16 remain. We are here to bear witness to the final 16 teams, as well as one extra team in one of the other tournaments. They've gathered from here at MIT and across the world to battle for your viewing pleasure. They fight for glory. They fight for honor. They fight for internship opportunities. And we wish them the best of luck. So welcome, everyone here and everyone watching online. We're glad you can make it out tonight. We hope you enjoyed the free pizza and the edifying entertainment provided by our sponsors. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this night is going to go. First, we'll have a brief overview of how this year's game works for those poor people in the audience who were unable to participate. Then we'll have our octo-finals, games between the penultimate 16 teams in the final tournament. After that, a brief word from our gold sponsors, D.E. Shaw, without whom none of this would be possible. We'll also give out special awards from some of our other sponsors. Then the quarter and semifinals, leaving only 2 teams remaining in the final tournament. We'll then hand out our bonus awards, wildcard awards for deserving teams who may not have made it to the finals, but who definitely made it into our hearts. After that, we'll watch the final matches of the newbie and high school tournaments, which are side tournaments run for inexperienced players. And then the final event we're all waiting for, the final match between the last 2 teams remaining in the tournament. The winner will be crowned the victor of Battlecode 2018. Woo! Yeah! So, briefly, what is Battlecode? Battlecode is a game where you write programs that control virtual robots. These virtual robots wander around virtual worlds. They can build other virtual robots. They can mine virtual resources. And most importantly, they can fight virtual fights. After a game, the robots that remain mean that that team is the winner. Battlecode is an extremely complicated problem, and we asked our competitors to solve it with extremely limited resources. It's sort of like the Super Bowl for software engineers. This year's game was based around the fact that global warming is happening, and soon nothing will be able to live on Earth. So the game runs for 1,000 turns, and at turn 700, every robot has to either board a rocket to Mars or die. You can also board rockets earlier than that. There are several types of units that do different kinds of things. Workers work, knights joust, mages magic. You know, you get the idea. You can build factories, which build more units, and you can build rockets, which escape from Earth. You can also use research to gain a special edge in the competition. If you're interested in learning more about the game, you can go to battlecode.org/#nutshell for a little bit more text. And you can just wander around this website if you can find the specs. You can read those if you're really bored, you know. But you shouldn't be bored because this is going to be really exciting. All right. And just before we start, some really quick facts about this year's game. This was the largest Battlecode ever. We had more than 1,000 teams and 3,000 individuals registered to compete. This has been our largest and most competitive final tournament to date. And we've run more scrimmages than ever before. And they totaled, that number went up since I last saw this presentation. They totaled 254 gigabytes of match data when compressed, which was kind of crazy. We opened more programming languages this year. If you're thinking about doing Battlecode next year, you don't have to use Java. You can use Python or C or C++. As you can see, most of our competitors chose to use Python because it's a great language. But everyone else also chose other languages too, and that was great. And somebody chose purple. You know, good for them. There's also this graph. All right, let's get started. I'm going to hand this off to our wonderful casters, Jay and Sanjay.
Hey, everyone. Who's excited? All right. So we're going to go ahead and start things off with the highest seeded highest seeded team against the lowest seeded team. So let's have arbitrary graph versus straight shot. Come up to the stage. We have arbitrary graph on call here. And straight shot. Anyone from straight shot? There we go.
Hello, everyone.
And when you're coming up on stage, I'd like you to come on this side of the stage towards these conveniently placed microphones. All right, let's give both teams a round of applause before we start off. They have come far.
Okay, so are we unmuted then? I'm not sure.
Hi, can we please have start market is moving to Mar and WBAD on deck, please?
And if you're on deck, please sit in these 2 rows on the leftmost side here. You might notice they are the closest to these stairs to the microphone. What a coincidence. All right, so without further ado, let's begin.
This is our game.
So here's our map. Here's Earth. Here's Mars. And let's start.
Okay, we're on.
So we can see that arbitrary graph is quickly making their way across the map. What do you have to say about that arbitrary graph?
So we're running back and forth. And wait, can you hear us now? Because we don't hear.
We can hear
and
you.
It looks like Straight Shot has taken a massive aggressive towards arbitrary graph. They've taken over the top. Straight Shot, what do you have to say about this?
Wait.
Or not too greedy, I guess.
And Straight Shot wins the first game against Arbitrary Graph Restoration Fund. Or just Arbitrary Graph.
Did they even night crush us? I'm not sure.
In just 341 rounds, Straight Shot beats Arbitrary Graph for the first game of Battlecode 2018. And now, another map. Arbitrary Graph can still come back from this, or Straight Shot might kick them down to the loser's bracket. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so you should do relatively well on this map, I think. Hopefully it's large. I would like large maps. Where is it bad at night rushes?
Arbitrary, what's happening with your bot?
So right, yeah, so we're building lots of factories. And right now we're just, I don't know what is happening.
And Straight Shot, what do you have to say about your bot?
If you just hold off until we get mages and blink. Okay, great, yeah. Okay.
And Arbitrary Graph takes game 2 of round 1.
But these are matches, meaning we are now onto the match point. Whoever wins this game progresses further, whereas the losing team gets knocked down into the loser's bracket, where they have a chance to redeem themselves.
I don't know about this one.
All right, we start off distributed. Both sides go into the Carbonite Horde. Looks like Arbitrary Graph is multiplying very quickly. Straight Shot trying to defend. Straight Shot, what do you have to say about this?
We're not as greedy, I guess.
And it looks like Arbitrary Graph conquers the map, wins game 1, and that will be our match.
That was a close one, unexpectedly.
Fantastic job to both teams. All right, if you can now please be seated, we will see you both again in the next rounds.
All right.
All right, next we have Star Market is moving to Mars versus W Bad.
And on deck, we have a single pleb.
And on deck, we have a single pleb and Dumbledore's army. Unfortunately, a single pleb is not here, so he will also be streaming in via Discord.
I don't know. What are we supposed to be looking at? Where's the camera?
Okay, so the camera is back there. Look at it, wave, smile, you're on screen. Thousands of people are watching eagerly to watch your bots perform.
Oh, great.
During the finale, you're going to have this screen up here displaying live what's happening.
Nice. Okay.
And you will face the audience because the audience would love to see your faces. And you will commentate through these mics, without which they will not hear you.
That Carbonite is very
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're okay. We compute connected components, so we shouldn't
Are we all set?
get confused by that.
Okay.
Crash or something.
So,
I think we'll be okay.
Star Market is moving to Mars. W Bad, both MIT teams.
Hopefully.
How about you each
I don't
give
want
us
to
a
ping
word
pongs.
about your bots?
That's you.
Okay,
You're red.
Okay, so we're Star Market and we're moving to Mars.
Okay.
okay.
Our
Our plot is pretty like middle of the road standard. Like workers spread out to like get carbonite, and we build factories that build rangers by default. We try to go for there's a fixed ratio of like rangers to healers. Rangers like do standard combat things, and they attack things just out of range. In the middle, we go for like using mages with overcharge and blink. Sort of. It doesn't really work, but we try.
And now
And
we're going
we
to
send
go
out in 2
ahead
ways.
and see if this will work. All right, without further ado, game 1. We can start off seeing the Star Market is moving to Mars, is going north. W Bad going with a more cluster approach. What do you guys have to say about this?
Well, there was Carbonite in the corner, so that's probably what happened.
All right, and it looks like we have combat in the center of the stage. Star Market is moving to Mars, is being taken over by W Bad.
We have a chance.
I think we got this.
Looks like they've gotten back into the corner, and this game goes to W Bad, or WBAD.
Either pronunciation is acceptable.
All right, either pronunciation is acceptable. All right, now we have game 2 in a moment. We can see both teams starting off in their Carbonite Hordes. What do you guys have to say about your strategies here?
We're going to build Rangers.
All right. Looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, is moving forward. W Bad advancing with Rangers, which are taking down Star Market.
Right.
What,
That's
what are
right.
those?
And it looks like we have a
so our
two-flanked attack.
Our workers went
Star
forward
Market is
and then
moving
saw
to Mars,
that
is
the
being
Carbonite was
slowly
occupied.
back into their corner. Woo! Sorry, my bad. All right. And W Bad wins that one. Congratulations. All right, if we can have the next 2 teams, which is Dumbledore's army versus a single pleb.
And then up on deck. I don't know how to.
And up on deck is Blank and How Are You So Good? A single pleb is streaming in currently from Berkeley, California.
All right. Testing. All right. So we have a single pleb as red, who's on either side of the screen. Can you tell us a bit more about your strategy?
Hi, yeah, so basically I start out with knights, depending on how good knights seem, and then I'll build more if they're effective, and then after that I just go with the regular rangers and healers.
Okay, and Dumbledore's army?
Well, we build knights when we want to build them, and we build rangers when we want to build them.
What a fantastic strategy. All right, and let's go ahead and see how both of those strategies play out. All right, looks like a single pleb moving north, trying to get that carbonate horde. Looks like Dumbledore's army building factories. All right, a single pleb, what do you think about this game so far?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just go for all the carbonite that I can find at the beginning, trying to put like one worker on each one, and then after that I just build.
Makes sense. And it looks like Dumbledore's army with that initial factory is going to go in with rangers, which are going to decimate a single pleb's workers. Congratulations, Dumbledore's army. You're going to win the first game of this match.
We didn't get this right. I don't know.
All right, game 2. Both sides quickly eating up carbonite. Dumbledore's army, what do you have to say?
We build too many factories.
Right.
But it works. No, it don't.
That was fantastic. Well, now it seems like Dumbledore's army is aggressively fighting back against a single pleb. Dumbledore's army, how do you feel about the game so far?
It's good.
But it looks like a single pleb refuses to be pushed back, pushing really, really hard. But it looks like they just don't have the unit counts as reinforcements keep streaming in, and a single pleb is back in the corner trying to replicate.
What happened?
We
Are there
have
rockets?
one rocket that must have taken off and gotten into Mars in the fray.
And now Dumbledore's
And it looks
army
like Dumbledore's army has made their way across. Looks like a single pleb now in there on Mars. Oh,
Hey,
but we have
snipes.
snipes. What do you have to say about this Dumbledore's army?
Snap is great.
It's surprising.
That's the one rocket.
Yeah,
And
you're
we
right.
can see that Earth has been decimated, and Dumbledore's army emerges victorious. Congratulations, Dumbledore's army. You are moving on to the quarterfinals. All right, if we can have the next two teams, Blink and How Are You So Good, come up to the stage.
Can we please have Smite and Tricycle up on deck?
Okay. All right, and how about you two introduce your teams?
Hi, we are Soda and Shiro, known as Blank. And of an enemy is How Are You So Good? And I want my first question to be, how are you so good?
And How Are You So Good? What's your answer here?
How are you so good?
Wow. And it looks like both teams just friendly competition, both thinking that the others is good. And let's go ahead and see how it plays out.
Okay, I got the feeling that on this map, there's very little carbonite, so it's probably very important to have a very first early factory and first early units, because like in the very beginning, if you have this slight unit advantage, it's probably very, very helpful. And as you can see, we have early on very few units, more units than he has, and it guarantees us a fast victory.
Well done.
Fantastic.
All right, second game. How are you so good? How are you feeling about this game?
Bad.
Oh. All right, well, it looks like Blank is quickly replicating and then moving as one giant unit towards the enemy base, trying to collect carbonate.
Okay,
It looks like
that happens because we somehow feel like if we steal the enemy's carbonite, then we are probably in a very good shape. This didn't work out that well because it was very close to his base, but the rangers that came afterwards are securing the job at this point, I guess.
And it looks like Blank will win again. Congratulations, Blank. You are now quarterfinalist. If you can have the next two teams, Smite and Tricycle, come up to the stage.
And can we please have Oaks Disciples and Good Luck Have Fun on deck?
You want to come to this one?
You got it.
Okay. Again, starting off on a map that has plentiful carbonite, but just out of reach. And let's go. So, Smite, what do you think's happening?
We're building factories.
All right, and it looks like Smite quickly grabbing their carbonite, Tricycle using that carbonite to build a factory. Looks like Smite is moving towards Tricycle, Tricycle trying to fend them off, but not having enough units to do so. Looks like Smite's going to take that. Tricycle, what are you feeling about this game?
Pretty bad.
What happened? All right, and it looks like the first game is going to go to Smite. Congratulations. All right. So that was quite a game. Smite, do you want to tell us a little bit more about your strategy, and Tricycle, about your strategy?
Sure. Our strategy was primarily to reverse engineer everyone better than us, primarily orbitary. Seems like it kind of works.
Yeah, we have kind of traditional strategy. We build knights when we think we want to, and otherwise we go with the ranger healer thing.
Okay. All right, game 2. All right, looks like Smite's making their way across. Tricycle trying to cluster in the top corner. Smite starting off with factories right next to the base. Tricycle coming in with really fast knights, but being decimated by the rangers of Smite. What do you guys think is happening in this game?
We're losing.
All right. And it looks like Smite taking over more of the map, progressively getting closer and closer to Tricycle's base. Tricycle no longer being able to withstand this onslaught of rangers. We can see that Smite has almost double the units and rapidly increasing proportions of units to Tricycle. Looks like Tricycle was not going to be able to manage that defense. Smite, congratulations. You're now quarterfinalists. All right, and for the next game, can we please have Oaks Disciples and Good Luck Have Fun on the stage?
And on deck, can we have WCGW and Citrus Sky, please?
As I remember, they don't like being called Barcode, so be nice. All right, so Oaks Disciples, a bit about your bot?
Well, our strategy, I think, is pretty original. We build knights if we're close enough to the enemy, and otherwise we build rangers and healers.
I've seen some strategies that include mages, so it's not unheard of. And good luck, have fun.
My strategy is to start by trying to defend against any rushes with knights and mages, and then depending on what the enemy does, typically try to go to rangers and healers to force a standstill until we get overcharged mages. But if they're continuing with a knight rush, we'll go with more mages.
All right, makes sense. All right, and let's see how both of those strategies play out. Looks like Oaks Disciples quickly trying to go to the middle of the stage, making 2 factories, 3 factories. Meanwhile, Good Luck, Have Fun, using a
we're going
early
to the
vintage
spawn,
knights.
but there's no one there.
Looks like Oaks Disciples trying to make a comeback, but Good Luck, Have Fun just has too many combat units for them right now. Defending pretty well. Good Luck, Have Fun. What do you think about this game so far?
Hopefully we can get to the point where we can use the mages to blink in.
All right, and it looks like Good Luck, Have Fun has lost a lot of their factories. Oaks Disciples quickly closing in and is going to take over this map. Oaks Disciples, congratulations. That said, we still have 2 more games in this match potentially, or 1, and you can't bet on a team too early. All right, game 2, let's start. All right, what do you think is happening with your bots?
We're probably trying to replicate a lot since we found a lot of mining spots, and we're sending workers to...
Looks like the worker rush strategy is being quickly overtaken by Good Luck, Have Fun, who managed to produce a lot more combat units.
Yeah, we're disappointed in our workers. I thought that they would be stronger.
I'm not too optimistic because my
And it
Ranger
looks like
micro
we
is not
have
good.
vicious battle in the top left corner. That said, this is clearly a defensive battle for good luck, have fun. All right, and it looks like Oak's Disciples is making their way using mages to demolish the entire enemy army with AoEs, and Oak's Disciples will win that game. Congratulations. You are now quarterfinalists. And for the next game, can we have WCGW, or What Could Go Wrong, and Citric Sky on the stage?
And on deck, can we please have Producing Perfection and Steam Locomotive?
All right, so before we start, each of you want a quick word about your bot, WCGW?
Where WCGW, our bot initially tries to replicate towards the center carbonite, which is, in this case, top left and top right, because they're like equal move distance away from the starting locations. But I don't know if we're going to do it because there's not much carbonite there. I mean, I can't tell because the view is like pretty useless, but maybe there's lots, maybe there isn't. But so yeah, we'll see.
How much carbonite is in the top left and top right?
And Citric Sky?
All right, our strategy is actually pretty generic. We build knights if there are enemies close, and we build rangers otherwise. And I think we've just pretty much gotten this far on good testing and magic numbers.
Perhaps not the best software practices in general, but in Battlecode, when you have such limited time constraints, they can be very helpful. And with tests, it works. All right, let's see this match. All right, looks like WCGW is starting off with a factory where Citric Sky is quickly trying to expand towards the carbonate and build a factory towards it. Citric Sky, can you tell us a bit more about why your bot did that?
So up until a certain point, we pretty much have an uncapped replication, and on certain maps this might be like really bad, but so far in testing this has been okay. I guess for us this time it didn't really work out.
WCGW is quickly taking over the map using rangers, overcoming those workers. Congratulations, what could go wrong? Nothing went wrong for you yet. All right, game 2. Looks like what could go wrong, again, expanding pretty quickly. Citric Sky making factories a bit faster. Looks like what could go wrong, starting up quickly. What could go wrong, what do you think?
We have no idea what our workers are doing, but that's cool. Wait, why are we not mining?
And it looks like more important than workers right now are the rangers who are quickly moving into the top left, annihilating Citric Sky's units, and the game goes to what could go wrong. Congratulations. All right, so for the next teams, can we have Producing Perfection and Steam Locomotive come to the stage? I think. Yeah.
And on deck, can we please have Arbitrary Graph and WBAD?
All right, Producing Perfection, would you like a word?
Yeah, so basically our strategy was copying whatever was meta, which was spearheaded by teams like Arbitrary Graph, and we tried our best to produce perfection, but I don't think it worked.
And Steam Locomotive?
So we just go for the standard mages, or not mages, we don't build mages, healers, knights, if like it's a small map, and rangers.
We also have different breadth first search maps that we use to target different carbonite versus armies, and you'll see our workers like occasionally collaboratively build with that same strategy.
All right, and let's see how both of these play out. All right, looks like Producing Perfection going north, Steam Locomotive trying to build a factory early. Producing Perfection using a more worker-based strategy. Steam Locomotive kiting. Steam Locomotive, want to tell us a bit more about your kiting?
We have our rangers move back whenever there's a possibility of an enemy moving forward. As long as we're in range, we do that, and when we're out of range, we move back in so that we can be dealing damage.
All right, and it looks like that's working pretty well. Steam Locomotive moving towards the left side of the map. Producing Perfection unable to defend, and Steam Locomotive, you win that one. Congratulations. All right, game 2, Producing Perfection versus Steam Locomotive. All right, looks like the blue team is starting off at the factory a little earlier, producing perfection, gathering more carbonate and producing more factories. Looks like we have a bit of combat starting on the left. It's Rangers versus workers. What do you guys have to say about this? All right, and we have about even amounts of units. Both teams seem to be stuck in the middle, not really being able to gain any ground. Although it looks like Producing Perfection is slowly moving towards the top left as they gather more and more Rangers, and it looks like Steam Locomotive is having a hard time defending. We can go ahead and see Producing Perfection wins this. And this brings us to Game 3. Whichever team can win this game progresses to the quarterfinals. All right, let's see it in action. All right, looks like both teams get into the carbonate deposit very quickly. Producing Perfection going for a more distributed approach, Steam Locomotive going for a more centralized approach. What do you have to say about this?
We lost.
And unfortunately, this is the case. Steam Locomotive just trampling their enemy. Congratulations, both teams. We'll see you again soon. All right, and this is what bracket?
Dumbledore.
What about these? Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
And
so
next up, we have Arbitrary Graph versus WBAD. Arbitrary Graph, can we get you on Discord?
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, can you see us?
Yeah, we can. Well, we can see
And the world can see you. All right, WBAD. All right.
All right, fantastic. Can we please have Dumbledore's army and Blank on deck, please?
All right, let's get started. Both teams starting off moving towards the middle. Arbitrary Graph, what do you have to say about this?
So we really try to get all the carbonite in the beginning, especially carbonite that can that both teams can get.
And now we do night rush. We do a night rush when we're very close
and
to them.
WBAD?
Yeah, we are only going to win against Arbitrary Graph if the map is very good for us, and this is not very good for us.
And what would be a very good for you map?
If the map tricks Arbitrary Graph into night rushing when it's a bad idea. Unfortunately, in that map, it was a very good idea.
I see. All right, now we have a new map that we haven't seen before. Let's get started. Arbitrary Graph working their way towards the common carbonite. WBAD not quite as fast. Arbitrary Graph establishing factories almost everywhere on the map.
Yep. Good for night rushes.
Dominating. Excellent job. You can see the unit comps were a night rush. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We will see you both again. All right, next up we have Dumbledore's army versus Blank.
And on deck, can we have Smite and Oak's Disciple, please?
All right, without further ado, let's start this match. Looks like both teams
So on
making
this
their
map,
way
I think
towards
we're
the
going to
center.
rush into the middle for a worker rush. And now we might see some knights because of close combat, or even some mages. And good game.
And it looks like they have taken over using a combination of mages and rangers. Congratulations, Blank. All right, game 2.
So this is again a low carbonite map, so we should see some early factories, because it's really important to have the first factories and first fighting units. So now they lost one factory already, that's given us a big advantage.
And Dumbledore's army?
We are losing. We lose.
No, we lost.
Well, congratulations, Blank, you're moving on. Dumbledore's army, we will see you again. Next up, we have Smite versus Oak's Disciples. If we can have both teams come up to the stage.
And on deck, we have WCGW and Steam Locomotive.
I feel like we should put music in the interstitials. I can do that. All right. Both teams ready? Let's get started. All right, we have Smite moving up. Oak's Disciples getting into Carbonite Horde first. Smite, what do you have to say about this?
Oh my god, just...
We're screwed.
And it looks like Oak's Disciples uses this Carbonite Horde to amazing effect, destroying Smite. Congratulations.
We have a nice feature in which the worker that has more that is closer to its target just replicates first so that it can get faster to the Carbonite.
And that,
I think.
yeah, good strategies. All right, next game. Looks like we have Smite moving quickly towards the shared Carbonite, this time grabbing it first. Oak's Disciples a little bit behind. Both teams starting up with Knights, and it looks like Oak's Disciples has executed this slightly faster. Congratulations. All right, next game we have, who do we have? What Could Go Wrong versus Steam Locomotive.
And on deck we have Straight Shot and Star Market is moving to Mars.
All right, let's get started. What could go wrong? Getting quickly into the center Carbonite, Steam Locomotive, same thing. What do you guys have to say about your bots?
We rush Carbonite.
All right, what could go wrong? Quickly duplicating, getting tons of units out of those factories, chasing, and Steam Locomotive is down. Next game, start. Looks like what could go wrong? Again, getting into the Carbonite faster. What do you have to say about this? What could go wrong?
We usually try to send workers into the center to build factories that are based there. And if we see enemy units nearby, we'll start building Knights to try to really establish our base.
All right, and congratulations. It worked out really well. You won that game. And next match. We have Straight Shot versus Star Market is moving to Mars.
And on deck, can we please have a single pleb and how are you so good?
All right, let's go. Looks like Straight Shot getting in there. Star Market is moving to Mars, getting the Carbonite Horde first, building a lot of factories. Star Market is moving to Mars. What do you have to say about your strategy here?
All right, so on the small map, we'll do something like a Night Rush, like something like on this map.
And it looks like it's very effective. We can see those Knights moving up towards the corner. These are being cornered, and Star Market is moving to Mars. You are definitely moving on to the next game. We have 2 more games in this match. All right, we can see Straight Shot moving up. Star Market is moving to Mars, building factories a little earlier. Straight Shot, what do you have to say about this? Speechless. Star Market is moving to Mars, manages to get a really firm hold in the middle, and progresses on to the next round. Congratulations. All right, next up, we have a single pleb versus How Are You So Good?
And on deck, can we please have Tricycle and Good Luck Have Fun?
And for clarification, this is now the second chance bracket. This means that the teams that are eliminated here are eliminated from this tournament. So the stakes are on. All right. Single pleb, how are you so good? Are you ready for this?
Yep.
All right. Let's see how you guys play out.
So we lost against a single pleb in seeding because they threw a time limit exceeded, but then we threw like a memory exception and then we lost or something.
I see.
That was bad.
And it looks like a single pleb is going to win that game just with overwhelming numbers. Also, for all competitors, we have placed a TV just in front of you if you'd like to watch that while you're commentating your matches. All right, next game. Looks like both teams making their way into their center Carbonite hordes. What a single pleb seems to be a little more on the defensive here. How are you so good? Ranging out, using knights to take down. Or how are you so good, rather? And it looks like blue chasing. Fantastic game on both of your parts. All right. this brings us into the tie break on a new map. Let's go ahead and check out the maps. Supposedly, this is MIT. Woo! MIT Spirit. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Looks like both teams quickly using this, this initial carbonate to replicate. How are you so good? Expanding a little further. How are you so good? You want to talk about this a little more? Looks like a single pleb managed to launch an offensive, but not enough units to mount against How Are You So Good. How Are You So Good takes the second game. A single pleb. I am sorry you're eliminated. How Are You So Good? Congratulations. You're moving on. Next up, we have Tricycle versus Good Luck, Have Fun.
And on deck, can we please have Citrix Sky and Producing Perfection?
All right, let's get started. All right, Good Luck, Have Fun. What do you think about this?
It's hard to tell. I do a lot of knights at the beginning, so maybe that will work.
Looks like Tricycle got a lot of factories, but not enough combat units. Good Luck, Have Fun, advancing pretty quickly, getting a lot of factories out here. Looks like Good Luck, Have Fun is going to win this. Congratulations. Game 2. Tricycle starting off with more replication. Good Luck, Have Fun going for a distributed approach. Tricycle, what do you have to say about your strategy in this game?
Doesn't look good.
All right, well, it looks like Good Luck, Have Fun is going out with knights, which are slowly fended off by rangers, but that took a very high tax on Tricycle, who is now going to lose this game. Good luck, have fun, congratulations, you're moving on. And when teams are eliminated, make sure you go with Seg and Gina. They will help you out. Next up, we have Citrix Sky versus Producing Perfection.
And on deck, we have Steam Locomotive, and Start Market is moving to Mars.
Let's go. Now, both of these teams have lost a game, so again, the stakes are on. Whichever one manages to win this will continue on, and the other one will unfortunately be eliminated. All right, let's start. What do you have to say about this, Citrix Sky?
I don't know why you guys wanted to lose so you can beat us. Why? Why is that?
And it looks like Producing Perfection quickly getting into that carbonate horde, replicating, and winning this game.
Yeah.
Next game.
No.
All right, game 2. Producing Perfection, what do you think about this match?
Well, our bot is very weak on rush maps, which all 3 of these are.
All right, and we can indeed see a Night Rush taking out Producing Perfection. Congratulations, Citrix Sky, you win game 2. This brings us to the match point, which will determine who we will see again tonight. And again, we are on the MIT map. Ah, I see. So this is the tunnels on Earth and the something on Mars. I don't know.
More tunnels.
More tunnels. All right, let's go. Looks like both teams getting into that carbonate horde pretty quickly. Citrix Sky, what do you have to say about this?
We just retarded. Oops.
Again, left speechless. Looks like Citrix Sky going forward with Rangers, Producing Perfection, trying to defend, expanding out more of the map. You can see that they've started producing a more varied composition, including mages. Going around there, Citrix Sky rebasing to the top right. Looks like Blue is slowly advancing onto this corner that Citrix Sky is holding onto so dearly. Producing Perfection, what can you say about this?
I don't know.
I see. Well, it looks like the fighting is heavy, but Producing Perfection getting bigger and bigger. Citrix Sky losing units, trying to preserve them. You can see those healers working really hard with those orange blasts. And we have a rocket that is taken off. We have rockets from both sides, and it looks like Citrix Sky about to be eliminated on Earth. So let's go ahead and swap over to Mars. We have Blue landing on Mars. Citrix Sky is probably soon to follow. Citrix Sky trying to hold off on Earth, now being destroyed on Earth, and slowly hanging on, trying to use these healers, producing perfection, producing more rockets, and producing perfection wins. Congratulations. Is that them? Next, can we have Steam Locomotive and Star Market is moving to Mars on stage?
And on deck, can we please have Smite and How Are You So Good?
All right. All right, and let's watch this game play out. Both teams quickly getting the Carbonite Horde. Steam Locomotive, what do you think about this?
We'll see. Yeah, factory is a little slow. Hopefully that doesn't.
Looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, making a comeback, using mages, taking out Steam Locomotive's units. Steam Locomotive trying to come back with a knight. Star Market is moving to Mars. How do you feel about this?
We didn't actually get to go to Mars.
Indeed, you did not get to go to Mars, but at least you conquered Earth in the meantime. Next game. Looks like more varied map. Star Market is moving to Mars, trying to get around the map. Steam Locomotive staying closer to where they spawned. Star Market is moving to Mars. How do you feel about this?
We're pretty good when the Carbonites separate it. So.
All right, congratulations. You are winning this match. You are moving on. Steam Locomotive, Gina will handle you. Next up, can we have Smite versus How Are You So Good?
And on deck, can we please have Dumbledore's Army and good luck, have fun.
So, who's enjoying this so far? And can we just have a round of applause for all 16 teams? They're doing fantastic. It is really hard to be up on stage here commentating for them. All right. Smite, How Are You So Good? Let's see who wins. Looks like How Are You So Good expanding, whereas Smite's trying to take a stance at the Carbonite. This gives them an advantage because they have Rangers. Looks like How Are You So Good has more production. How Are You So Good? How do you feel about this?
We're supposed to be night rushing, but we're not.
Well, it looks like you were supposed to be night rushing, but your Rangers doing extremely effectively. Smite now doesn't have any factories, trying to hang on to life using these last few Rangers. How Are You So Good? Slowly crushing in from both sides. All right. How Are You So Good? Congratulations.
How are you so good?
Thought we were red.
President Dinklin.
On this different map, Smite, how do you feel that you'll fare?
I think that AI is a lot of if statements, and we had too many, so I think we will fail.
Have faith in your own bots. Looks like How Are You So Good replicating very quickly. Smite getting in the factories before How Are You So Good, starting off with a night rush, which is then countered by How Are You So Good's own night rush. Looks like How Are You So Good is expanding, and How Are You So Good? Congratulations, you're moving on. Smite, very well done. Next up, can we have Dumbledore's Army versus Good Luck, Have Fun on the stage?
And on deck, can we please have W-Bad and Producing Perfection?
And let's start. Looks like Dumbledore's Army making a quick start using a lot of replication. Dumbledore's Army, what do you think about this?
We generally don't do very well on Rush.
All right, Good Luck, Have Fun, what do you think?
It looks like we're losing.
I see. Well, it looks like Dumbledore's Army is starting off with a lot of production. Good Luck, Have Fun getting distributed, but not enough production power to
they're
overcome
out of
Dumbledore's
our
Army
vision
yet.
range now, so we just stop attacking.
All right, and it looks like Dumbledore's Army is slowly advancing. This mage trying to kill one of Dumbledore's Army's healers.
Oh, nice.
And Dumbledore's Army's healer just brought that mage to a stalemate. Congratulations. Dumbledore's Army, you're going to win that first game.
Hey, we didn't lose.
All right, next match, or game. Both teams spreading out pretty quickly. Good luck, have fun having the first few factories. Dumbledore's army having just a little less power. Good luck, have fun. What do you feel about this?
I'm not sure what it's going to do because I haven't seen this map.
I see. And it looks like Dumbledore's army, again, has more production power, which is going to give them a huge advantage as they advance towards GLHF. And Good Luck, Have Fun is trying to hold on to this corner, but not quite enough power there. Wow. Looks like Dumbledore's army is going to win that game. Congratulations, you win the match, and you're progressing forward. No teams are on deck. Wait, what? Okay, no teams queued on deck. WBAD and Producing Perfection, if we can have you on the stage.
I guess we're both pretty nervous. I have no idea what Producing Perfection's robot does.
I don't know what our bot does either.
All right.
Oh, that's awkward.
Let's get started. Looks like both teams getting into their carbonite towards Producing Perfection, expanding left. WBAD trying to do the same. WBAD, what do you have to say about this?
Bad.
Oh, bad. All right, well, Producing Perfection quickly taking over the left side of the map. WBAD making a comeback in the north, taking out the eastern factory of Producing Perfection. Producing Perfection seems to be bottled up in the left side. WBAD making a comeback. WBAD, what do you have to say about your bot?
I have no idea what's going on in this map, but we built a factory and the factory got destroyed, but our workers were repairing it, so it survived for longer than it otherwise.
And it looks like WBAD is making a massive comeback, taking over almost the entirety of Earth. Nothing is on Mars. Looks like WBAD is set to win this game soon.
Oh, man.
They produce rockets, and congratulations, WBAD. That is your game. After a fantastic comeback, they managed to get back there.
Yeah, so usually I would hope that our Rangers are pretty decent, but that doesn't help if we don't have any units. Fortunately, we had units.
And it paid off. All right, game 2. WBAD expanding out, Producing Perfection expanding out. Producing Perfection, what do you think?
I think these are maps where the other team builds knights, and it's not a good idea to build knights. So I wish we faced Orbitary Graph on these maps.
And it looks like WBAD quickly expanding out and winning this game. Congratulations, you're moving forward. And next, we have a quick intermission in where we
switch to main screen.
And James will take over from here.
All right. So we're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, D.E. Shaw. We're more than halfway through the final tournament. It goes so fast, doesn't it? All right. I'll hand the mic off to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Sorensen, and I head campus recruiting at D.E. Shaw. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here at Battlecode for my 6th year in a row. It's always such a fun event. First and foremost, just want to congratulate the devs as well as all of the finalists. Just want to give you guys a big hand. Devs, I have to say that every year you manage to take an already really fun and creative competition and make it even more fun and creative. So hats off to you on that. And yeah, let's give them a round of applause. The finalists, congratulations on making it here, and congratulations also on creating strategies that are just so fun to watch. So round of applause to you guys as well. For those of you who aren't familiar with our firm, D.E. Shaw is an investment company headquartered in New York, and we're a company that uses very cutting-edge technology to make money for our investors. In many ways, we're actually more of a technology firm than we are a financial firm. There are 2 main types of strategies. We have what we call quantitative or systematic strategies, and then we have qualitative or discretionary strategies. In our quantitative strategies, people build very sophisticated mathematical models, and then those models trade automatically as the market moves. Then on our qualitative side, there's still lots of numbers and analytics that go into the work that we do, but there's always a human actioning a trading decision. We work with lots and lots of data, and a lot of my colleagues actually say that financial data is just one of the coolest and most complex data sets out there. I'll say to you guys that if you like the competition and strategy behind Battlecode, you'll probably like the types of work that we do. Just like the Battlecode strategies have to evolve and adapt based on new maps or new competitors, our investments, both our quantitative investments and our qualitative investments, have to react very quickly to what's going on around the globe. So I really encourage you guys to check us out. I'm here with two of my colleagues, Patricia and David, and we'll be hanging around after the competition if you want to ask us any questions. And I'll just close with a couple words about our culture. We hire people that are very smart and very curious, but also very kind and collaborative. We're a flexible place. Hours are flexible, dress code is flexible, kind of dress like this almost every day. We don't require any finance knowledge. We're very mentoring, and you will learn all the finance that you need to know. And there are great perks and benefits of the company, and we have a number of affinity groups and clubs and opportunities for volunteerism. I've been at the firm 6 years now, way longer than I've been anywhere else. And I've been struggling over the past couple years to come up with a really concise little phrase to kind of sum up my experience at D.E. Shaw. And it was just recently that I landed on a little phrase. One of my colleagues on one of our trading teams said that he's really able to be his whole authentic self at the firm. And that's when it struck me that the 4 words that I would use to describe the firm are, come as you are. If you're someone who likes working on cool projects with really smart people, please do apply. And with that, I will say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I can't wait to see the rest of the competition. Thank you.
Thank you, D.E. Shaw. Now, before we get back into the competition, we have a few more special sponsor awards. We ask that if you receive one of the awards, you don't come up right now in the interest of time. You'll receive it digitally later. So the first award we're going to give is the Most Creative Strategy Award from our platinum sponsor, Kotu. The team Samosas, during the sprint tournament, had a strategy where they enacted non-violent resistance in Battlecode. They had their workers build more workers. Now, the worker special ability this year was that they could copy themselves, or one of the special abilities, and they could do it very cheaply. And also, earlier in the competition, things were even cheaper, and they were even lower cooldown, which meant that you could basically flood the entire map with your workers. So what Samosas did was they surrounded all of the enemy factories with workers, the enemies couldn't do anything, and they won the game. And for that, Kotu gives them the award for the most creative strategy. Congratulations, Samosas. The second sponsor award we're giving out is the most creative strategy report from D.E. Shaw, who just spoke. Now, teams are allowed to submit strategy reports where they explain how they decided to play the game and why they made the decisions they did. This can affect their grading if they're taking the course as a class, and it can also teach us devs how to better make the game next year so that people can make even better strategies. The team, the pseudoers, decided to format their strategy report as a copy of The Art of War. I guess you could call them the Sun pseudoers. Thank you, thank you. I'm here all week, folks. Okay, so congratulations to those 2 teams, and we'll reach out to you later online for you to get those awards. All right, on to the quarters.
All right, and now we are on to the quarterfinals, which feature arbitrary graph versus blank. So if we can have both of those teams up on the stage.
And can we please have motorcycles and WCGW on deck?
Okay, so if we're on, I'm not sure if we're on, but we are really going to try to capture like all the carbonite in this map because it's close to the beach.
And I would like to point out that this is quarterfinals. All of these teams have come so far. Good luck, arbitrary. Good luck, blank. Let's see how this plays out.
Okay, so this match is like one of the top seeded teams against each other. And so probably going to be a lot
slower than the other games, I hope, and you might see more strategy or tactics. Big shoutouts to Brute Forcer, by the way, because he gave us a lot of support. He can't actually make it to the finals because he's not a student anymore.
And arbitrary graph? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think we make mages. Yeah, we didn't think we would make mages this early, but apparently Bob decided that that was a good thing. We made like scores for everything, and apparently I think Blank has been really put together, so we have the potential to get flash damage. And yeah, apparently we made
and it looks like it paid off. Congratulations, Arbitrary. You're going to win this first game. That said,
so that's going to be another rush map, I guess.
That said, a match is still only determined by 2 games. Blank, you still have a chance to come back. Let's see how it plays out. Looks like both teams trying to gather up these Carbonite rows. Blank going around Arbitrary. Arbitrary, what do you think about this?
I'm not sure at this stage. So we are very vulnerable to a night rush. Yeah, as you can see. So I think, wait, are we going to come back from this?
And Blank?
Maybe. This does not look
so I guess
good.
now it's changing from knights to rangers, and now it's all about the ranger micro.
If you see these flashing lights on screen, these are heals, because the front lines are rangers. You can detect these lasers to indicate what a ranger is. And the healers are slightly in the back and giving these flashy heals. But by the unit count, you can tell we are like slightly in front, maybe.
But I guess it's pretty hard because we're kind of like we have to rush through a surround, so that's always hard to fight. But I guess.
And it looks like Blank will win this game. You can see those mages come out in the later rounds and just decimate those with AoE damage, Arbitrary's units. And that brings us to game 3 on a much larger map featuring discontinuity. What do you guys have to say about this?
Wait, what? This is so good. What?
And an umbrella. So you might need an umbrella when Earth floods.
I don't think an umbrella would save you from a flood.
Yeah, especially like a planet flood, but you know, we try. At least if you get to the umbrella, then you're getting to Mars, so you'll probably survive. All right, let's watch this play out.
So we are going to get so stuck, I think.
And it looks like Arbitrary is using worker replication. Blank has actually managed to put down a factory. Arbitrary, not so lucky. And we can see that Arbitrary is actually having a lot of trouble with these factories. Arbitrary, what do you have to say about this?
Where is our factory? I don't know. Should have a factory by now.
And we can see the advancing of Blank's Rangers.
The score is really
Arbitrary,
low.
unable to produce a factory, cannot produce any combat units. They can only produce more workers. Blank, what do you have to say about this?
Okay, so I think this is a map that the devs sometimes tend to distribute, where you need specific code to cope with less space or some specific situations that you normally won't code for. I think it's a bit of luck if you included these cases, and probably Arbitrary didn't. But I'm not sure like if this is lucky for us, because we included some code that makes it a bit easier to find a good factory spot.
And it looks like
finally they managed to do something
Arbitrary has got
The question is whether or not we're going to go to Mars here. But we already have a few spaceships, so I guess we're going to go to Mars soon.
And we can see that we have Blank making rockets. Arbitrary finally gotten out a factory, but they have 300 rounds to get to Mars. Blank not able to find their way to Arbitrary, even though they have these mages, even though they have these rangers, they're not able to find Arbitrary. So it looks like we have some rockets, and it looks like Arbitrary has completely run out of space. They cannot produce a rocket unless one of their workers destroys itself. Arbitrary, have you coded for this?
Yes, we have. But things like yeah, we have a bug somewhere. We didn't test this like a lot. Yeah, just a little bit.
And we can see on Mars, we can see Blank starting to populate Mars, having a bunch of units, and Orbitary still not there yet. 50 rounds until Earth floods.
Can you stop it for
not
short?
moving.
Because I think what you see here is that this map is actually a contained map, because there's no way our units can actually reach this. Oh, now it's gone. I'm sorry. but what you could see is that there was actually no way our units could pathfind to the enemy. So there was no wonder that we didn't meet each other, because these units just couldn't find a way. There was no actual way. You could hopefully just shoot there. That's all.
Because we have two maps, the devs have the ability to make discontinuous maps, which have been featured in previous tournaments. And you can see that Blank is going to win this game. Orbitary, that brings you down to the second chance bracket. Blank, we will see you again. Orbitary, we will see you again. And if we can have Oak's Disciples and What Could Go Wrong on the stage.
And on deck is Start Market is moving to Mars, and How Are You So Good?
A lot of we have a lot of discontinuous maps. All right, and let's go ahead and start off. Oh, I was on Mars. All right, let's go ahead and start off and see what happens. Oak's Disciples, what's happening with your bot?
Well, basically, we're just going for the carbonite and replicating a lot to get the whole thing, I guess.
And it looks like What Could Go Wrong got out the first factories, got out a factory on the eastern side, mostly workers on Oak's Disciples side, but that workers paid off, and they're going to take over the map using a lot of units. And what could go wrong? I'm afraid something went wrong.
The other team made knights before us, which have very high damage potential, so they knocked us out before we could set up our army.
All right, that said, we have a match, and that consists of 3 games. Both teams still have a fighting chance. What could go wrong? What do you think is up with this map?
I don't know.
We don't really know how code works, so we'll just have to see.
All right, looks like Oak's Disciples starting off with a lot of factories clustered up. What could go wrong?
Well, we got a bit close there, but we might do something.
Looks like what could go wrong? Slowly trying to gain ground.
We built some pretty exposed factories, but luckily they didn't get shut down, so we have a chance. But if it reaches round 225, we lose because they have mages.
All right, looks like what could go wrong has a lot of rangers and a lot of workers, but Oak's Disciples healing pretty effectively and keeping their corner, slowly losing ground, lost their last factory. What could go wrong? Congratulations! You win this game. This brings us to game 3.
So we might have a couple of
and
issues
we are
with this
currently
map.
in the winners bracket, I believe. None of these teams have lost before. So even if a team is kicked at this stage, they're knocked down to the second chance bracket where they still have a chance of winning the final.
So we might have a couple of problems with this map because we try to build factories so that we don't obstruct ourselves. But because all of the paths are like 1 wide.
No, they're 2 wide. Some of them are 2 wide.
All right, yeah. So like,
very few of them are 2 wide.
So there's like a chance that we'll just like move around and not actually end up building anything. But I guess we'll see.
We have something here that might help us, which is that if we have a factory on our way, we will just enter the factory and then deploy on the other side. So
and it
we hope that will help us.
And it looks like
that's why we don't care where we put the factories.
Have read the specs closely.
But that's not good for building.
For those of you who haven't played the game, all structures like rockets and factories are able to garrison units. This allows for strategies like this where you can get through the factories, and also it allows you to launch attacks at once. Let's see how this plays out. All right, looks like Oak's Disciples starting off with a lot of replication. What could go wrong? Already building a factory. At the corner. Oak's Disciples making their own factory. What could go wrong? Both teams have factories and are moving around with their workers.
We're not doing it good because we're like just populating the wrong place. So.
And it looks like
we're helping them.
It looks like what could go wrong populated the more spacious aisle and has started closing in with their rangers. Oak's
But we don't have time for mages.
And what could go wrong will win this match. Congratulations. Now, can we have Star Market is moving to Mars, and how are you so good on the stage?
And on deck, can we please have Dumbledore's Army and W-Bad.
And now we have moved on to the second chance bracket. This means that both of these teams are fighting for their place in the finals. If either of these teams lose, then they are knocked out of the final tournament. Let's give a round of applause for all of our finalists here. Star Market is moving to Mars. How are you feeling about this game?
A bit nervous.
And how are you so good?
We're dead if we go to Mars.
All right. Looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, and how are you so good doesn't want to go to Mars. Let's see what happens. All right, both teams getting into the Carbonite Horde. Star Market is moving to Mars, taking over the western corner. How are you so good taking the eastern corner? Looks like they're about even. Blue has a slight advantage in unit value. What do you guys think about this game so far?
We killed a factory.
All right, and it looks like Star Market is moving to Mars using high damage units, getting out those knights, getting out those mages, now coming in with the rangers. How are you so good defending with rangers and mages? This could be anyone's game. Both teams have 2 factories, and neither team seems to be gaining the edge on the other. Blue team seems to have just a few more combat units. Looks like blue team coming ahead by about 100 or so in the total value of their army. Star Market is moving to Mars, getting out a 3rd factory, now which is destroyed. Now they're down to 1 factory. How are you so good? Getting across the map to the left. How are you so good? How are you feeling?
Good.
All right, next match, their next game. Both teams getting into their carbonite lines, moving very fast across the map. Both teams getting a factory in about the same turn. Both teams going for factories closer to their enemy. Star Market is moving to Mars, seems to be closer to their enemy, but that means that their factories were taken out sooner. How are you so good? Gaining an advantage by destroying those factories, advancing, and it looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, has just a single mage left, which is now eliminated by a ranger. Congratulations, both teams. How are you so good? You're moving on. Star Market is moving to Mars. Very well played. And next, can we have Dumbledore's Army versus W-Bad on the stage?
And on deck, can we please have Arbitrary Graph and How Are You So Good?
All right. Let's get ahead. What do you guys think?
I think they are going to build knights, and I hope it is a bad idea to build knights, but I'm not sure.
All right, looks like Dumbledore's Army getting out there, building factories. What do you think?
We're definitely going to make knights.
Yeah.
They are building knights indeed, and it looks like Dumbledore's Army is advancing with knights. Doesn't seem like that bad an idea. Taking over the enemy base. W-Bad trying to make a comeback at the bottom. Maybe not able to do so, taking out their last factory. Dumbledore's Army, congratulations, you are going to win this game. Game 2. Dumbledore's Army, how are you feeling?
I have no idea. Queasy.
All right, well, W-Bad looks like they're getting across. They got out the first factory. Dumbledore's Army trying to get out 3 factories.
Oh, no, that's not us.
Looks like W-Bad has taken over the west side of the map. Dumbledore's Army building up an army on the east side, slowly moving in with those rangers, taking out, bringing them into a corner. Dumbledore's Army.
Wow.
Dumbledore's
I'm
Army
surprised.
pushing them out of that corner in 168 rounds. Congratulations, Dumbledore's Army. You are moving forward. Next, can we have Arbitrary Graph, who's on Discord, and How Are You So Good?
And on deck, can we please have Oak's Disciples and Dumbledore's Army?
Orbitary Graph, fantastic comeback last match. How are you so good? Very well done. How are you both feeling?
Well, at least we're not going against blank.
So we are so going to lose on this map. Because, yeah, our scoring code just won't let us build the factory. Well, it might, but probably not.
All right,
yeah.
let's see how it plays out. And it looks like Orbitary this time getting a bit farther out, not being able to build the factory. How are you so good? Getting out a couple of factories. How are you so good? Can you tell us a bit more about your factory placement?
It's not good.
Okay. And it looks like...
don't try to build the walls. We have a factory. Oh, hi.
And it looks like Orbitary Graph has a factory in the north where they have space, building out a couple Rangers, not enough space to get out much. Looks like they have rockets. We have rockets in this game. How are you so good? Does not yet have rockets. They have a lot of units on the south side, unable to reach Orbitary Graph. Orbitary Graph now has taken off and is on their way to Mars.
We might still win this.
Looks like, how are you so good? Advancing in with their Ranger army, bashing down those healers, bashing down those Rangers. But remember, in this game, Earth does not matter after round 750. And we have not yet seen any rockets from the blue team. That said, Orbitary Graph seems to be done with their expeditions. They have gone to just producing combat units. We can see that these two are held at a standstill as healers are healing up these Rangers. As the flood inches ever closer. Orbitary, how are you so good? Can you tell us a bit more about your targeting?
What? We just...
So we really should be starting to get mages with Blink soonish.
All right.
Around 550.
Well,
and then...
Oh,
yeah,
we have blinks. We have blinks that are bringing them into the pieces of the map. You can see them as these flashes. We have 250 rounds. How are you so good? Now producing rockets, now garrisoning those rockets. We have Orbitary Graph with just one rocket and a few Rangers on Mars. 100 turns until Earth is destroyed. How are you so good? Now losing these rockets to Orbitary's assault.
I think
Orbitary, how are you so good? How are you feeling about this match so far?
Well, we don't
So
replicate
it
on
looks
Mars.
like we might win this because we have quite
And
a
it
lot
looks
of
like we only have 10 turns left on Earth, 8, 9, and Earth is destroyed. We have Orbitary Graph in the top right, almost conquering the entire planet. How are you so good? Trying to hold on with these last few rockets, but not enough. And Orbitary Graph is going to win this game.
Wow.
Next game.
Good map, good map.
You overestimate our ability to think of, or underestimate our ability to think of new maps. And it looks like in this map, we have a massive carbonite mine in the center and a very constrained Mars map. How do you think your two bots will fare on this map?
So we are going to try to rush the middle carbonite deposit because it's contested and yeah, we really want to have that one.
And and how are you so good?
Orbitary Graph tries to go to the center carbonite, but we don't do that, so we probably lose.
Okay, well, let's see how it goes. Looks like, how are you so good? Starting off with a replication, Orbitary Graph moving immediately towards the center carbonite as predicted. Looks like they're collecting up this huge amount of carbonite. Total value just skyrocketing as they build factories right next to How Are You So Good's base. How Are You So Good using this initial the advantage of factories to try and come back, but this total value is really hard to deal with. Orbitary Graph, how are you feeling about this?
Great. Yeah, at least.
As you should be, as your army advances further and further towards How Are You So Good's corner, eliminating them. Congratulations, Orbitary Graph. Lastly, next we have Oak's Disciples versus Dumbledore's Army. And And remember, this is a double elimination tournament.
And on deck, can we please have Blink and WCGW?
Remember, this is a double elimination tournament. Both of these teams have lost a match, so they too are holding on to their place in finals. Both teams, how are you feeling?
So we're just gonna get screwed again because our program is deterministic and we already played in this map. So I feel kind of sad.
All right, well, let's see how it goes. Dumbledore's Army, starting off at the factory. Oak's Disciples starting off by replicating. Oak's Disciples getting in a factory on that small map. Now they have a factory on the large
we saw
map.
already a factory there. But our secret strategy is just to produce mages and blink to the other component.
Our strategies is to not blink.
And hope.
And hope that we don't die.
And it looks like we have these healers very effectively taking care of those rangers on Oak's Disciples side, but Oak's Disciples are going to be reduced to their small component and are slowly being backed away as they don't have any space to produce new units. And by a numbers game, Dumbledore's Army will wipe them out. Congratulations, Dumbledore's Army.
Who designed this map?
I don't know.
Next map.
Here, hopefully, we just go to the center and try to get that carbonite.
Yeah, we don't rush for a carbonite, so we are going to lose on this map.
And we can see the total value of Oak's Disciples skyrocketing as that carbonite pays off. They have entire exclusive access to that carbonite mine. Yeah. They're producing tons of units. You can see almost a dozen factories, tons of rangers, knights that just annihilate. Congratulations, Oak's Disciples.
So, what's the third map?
I'm curious about the third map.
Yeah, me too.
And we get to now see the third map. It's a circle.
Oh my god. Well, there's like also two workers on
more
the
circles.
Our strategy isn't very good on this one.
All right, let's see. Looks like Oak's Disciples gained the advantage by replicating in the middle. Dumbledore's Army trying to go for the edge carbonite. Not quite fast enough.
Oh, you're right.
Dumbledore's Army makes a factory on the outside.
Oh.
Oak's Disciples, what are you feeling?
Two on the outside.
I mean, I don't
so maybe like we each get our side of the map and then we just go to Mars and see what happens there.
And it looks like Oak's Disciples has established dominance in the center, whereas Dumbledore's Army is basing themselves on the outside of the circle.
Ranger is going to kill us.
Oh, it's a donut.
They're gonna blink out and kill us.
Oh. No, it's too far to blink.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
And it looks like Dumbledore's Army trying to make headway against Oak's Disciples, but just walking into a death trap of rangers, where Oak's Disciples has so much more room so they can pile up a lot of rangers against a single unit and a lot of healers behind it. Dumbledore's Army not looking so hot here. Dumbledore's Army, what do you think your units are trying to do?
I can tell.
Okay.
I just want to live.
All right, looks like Oak's Disciples continuing to establish dominance. Neither side has established a rocket yet. We still have 350 rounds until Earth is destroyed.
We started building rockets at turn 500.
Hey, same.
But we don't find the closest regions from where we can shoot, but we pathfind to the enemy. So this map kind of trolls us.
I guess I'll...
So yeah, like what we're trying to do is
And we
trying
have
to
rockets from Dumbledore's Army and from Oak's Disciples. It looks like this match will conclude itself on Mars. Let's go ahead and launch up split screen.
Wow.
And we can see we continue to have red dominance in the center, and we continue to have Dumbledore's Army moving along the sides.
Yeah.
We have another
It
50
looks good
rounds
because
until
we have
Earth
more
is
units.
destroyed. Looks like almost all of the units on red. It looks like Oak's Disciples has annihilated Dumbledore's Army immediately as they land. Earth is destroyed. We have one more rocket or two more rockets that are in transit. But Oak's Disciples has just been using these diagonals. And congratulations! Oak's Disciples, you will be moving forward in this match. And next up, can we have Blink versus What Could Go Wrong?
And on deck, can we please have Arbitrary Graph and Oak's Disciples?
And so, how are you guys feeling? We're drawing closer to the finals as we see teams just be eliminated at the brink.
Okay, we first want to notice that now the only 4 teams left in the tournament are internationals. And the reason why there are only 4 internationals is because this time was a quota that only 4 internationals could come to the tournament.
So we seem to have a bit of salt here, but that's fine. All right, now we have Blink versus What Could Go Wrong. Let's see what happens. Both teams getting about equal amounts of carbonate in the middle.
We're trying to build our factory outside, so we're kind of giving up on the middle. So I hope that we can get at least that we're going to win the outside world. Or it's going to be pretty hard.
And it looks like Blink is trying to take the outside of the donut, gets 3 factories down against What Could Go Wrong's 2. What Could Go Wrong still has presence both inside and outside the donut.
So it's pretty hard to actually get to the enemy on the outside world because it's a choke point there. So it might be a stalemate now soon, unless they can rush us with knights.
Looks like What Could Go Wrong is using that inner circle to their advantage and getting in more reinforcements to fight off Blink's forces. Blink slowly losing their units, but producing them just as fast.
Yeah, so they can reach our factories, but we cannot reach theirs, so it's pretty hard for us.
What could go wrong? Can you tell us a bit more about why your bot chose to do what it did?
Wait, us? It was just luck, sorry guys.
All right. And it looks like What Could Go Wrong now has a rocket. Blink slowly being eliminated. Just a single healer and now a single ranger left. What Could Go Wrong now on Mars. And What Could Go Wrong wins this. Congratulations.
Okay, at least this map seems a bit more normal. I hope we can deploy a normal strategy on this map. And let's see which team decides where to build their first factory. This is probably going to be important for the rest of the game. But despite the last game, this is actually a connected map, so you can get from everywhere to everywhere. So there's no tactical stuff, it's just fighting, I guess.
And it looks like What Could Go Wrong, getting a factory in the main triangle in the center. Looks like Blank is going for the northern triangle. Blank, you can see, has some knights out there. We can see What Could Go Wrong responding with mages as well as a few knights. Mages taking them out with that splash damage. Now Blank also switching to mages, but a little too late as they lose their factories to the ranged assault of What Could Go Wrong. Blank trying to reestablish them on the right side of the map. What Could Go Wrong slowly trying to take out these forces in the north. What could go wrong? Can you tell us a bit more about what your bot's doing?
Okay, you see there's a big unit advantage. I'm not sure if the factories can actually produce enough units to cope with that. The positioning of the factories was very bad at the beginning, so they made a better decision, which decided the game probably.
The only dangerous thing is mages, but I don't think they got enough in time.
And it looks like Blank has been backed into this corner, only a few healers left, not enough to launch a counterattack. And they're in their corner. What could go wrong? Crushes them into that corner. Congratulations, What Could Go Wrong? You are advancing. All right, up next, we have Orbitary Graph versus Oak's Disciples. Orbitary Graph, are you on Discord? Wait, no. Wait, we can't see you.
On deck is plugged in over here. Wait, no, we can't say that.
All right. Now in the center, we Orbitary Graph. You want to give us a sound check? Sound check?
Yeah, we're here.
There we go. All right, we can hear you. And Oak's Disciples, both fantastic teams. All right, Orbitary, what's going on in your bot?
We're probably going to try a night rush in the middle.
Looks like Oak's Disciples has gotten the center carbonite. Oak's Disciples.
So we built the first factory, so I think we have an edge in the center.
Nice. But versus mages.
I don't know how it will go. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
It
good.
depends on who takes the center, basically.
Okay, now we've got rangers.
Yeah, but they have mages, so
Yeah.
I think
But at least
they will
we'll
take the
fight
center.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I thought we were the other team.
Looks like Oak's Disciples taking over the center using their mages. Orbitary Graph just barely hanging on and producing another factory. Orbitary Graph having the edge on the outside, but again being shot down by the superior vantage point in the center.
This looks good enough for us.
Yeah, this is not good at all. Oops.
The bad thing in this map is that since it's not connected, we never, like, when we try to look for the enemy team, we try to get to them. If we cannot get to them, we don't even care about them. So we're not gonna go to the edge and shoot them from there because we think we cannot see them.
But just take a look at that worker, the hero. Oh, he died.
And it looks like Orbitary Graph has gotten out rockets. Oak's Disciples,
Oh,
not
they
quite
have
yet.
early rockets. Will take a while to clear the rockets.
Nice. Did we have a rocket? I did. We did.
That said, it
Rockets.
looks like Orbitary Graph, even though they have rockets, is not able to dock much into those rockets. They have a few mages and a few workers and a couple rangers.
It will be
Looks like
decided on
Oak's
Mars.
Disciples getting more factories in the center, taking out the factories that Orbitary is trying to produce on the outside edge. Oak's Disciples, how
Yeah,
are you
now
feeling
we'll
about
start
this?
to build rockets, I think.
They did get a rocket now. More rockets.
Looks like Oak's Disciples has now started producing rockets, and now they can really use that combat advantage they had as they can go to Mars, which is a connected map. Looks like they're filling up those 100 turns until Earth is flooded. Orbitary Graph now making some more progress around, but Oak's Disciples has
Looks like
taken
we're on
over
Mars.
Mars with their outnumbering units, just overwhelming the
We're
enemy.
so dead.
And Oak's Disciples are the only ones left alive after the Great Flood. Congratulations, Oak's Disciples. Next game.
This is triangle one, right? Yeah.
On the Triforce map.
Triangles. I think we're going to try Night Rush again.
All right, let's start. Looks like Orbitary has gone for the center of the map. Oak's Disciples has gone for the north end.
Yeah, so we build a factory on the top, so they're probably going to take the center. So I don't know how this game will go.
Yeah, this looks good.
Not very good for us.
Looks like Orbitary has gotten down 3 factories from which they're producing rangers. Oak's Disciples trying to come in with mages, but mages just cannot destroy rangers without losing themselves. And we have Oak's Disciples now trying to establish a base in the east. Orbitary Graph using this factory advantage to gain a numbers advantage and taking down those factories using rangers and healers. We can see these healers are very effective. Oak's Disciples trying to make a comeback. Orbitary, what are you thinking?
We have mages now, flying mages, hopefully. But nah, it's only 300.
And it looks like we have an armada of mages coming in. Orbitary Graph wins this game. And this brings us into game 3.
Oh, wow.
No.
With yet another fantastic map.
Oh,
I believe this is reminiscent of
What
Dark.
are these maps? Yeah.
We love these maps.
I must say, I am very proud of whoever made this map. And that would be Seg. Good job. Good map design. All right, it looks like we have 2 people, we have both teams going in opposite directions. Orbitary Graph trying to follow the enemy team, replicating a bit more. Oak's Disciples coming
so
out with these factories.
we build the first factory, so we have
Where
an edge on
are
that.
factories?
Hopefully we can build knights and then rush the
They are
enemies.
just replicating for now.
Looks like Orbitary
is
Graph
good
has
for
only
us.
been replicating their workers and has no combat units. Oak's Disciples took advantage of this using mages that are now taking out several workers at once. Remember, mages have AoE damage, and when they're not contested by a ranger, they can wreak havoc, as you can see they are doing. Orbitary Graph moving south, getting the carbonate, but not really using it to any advantage. We can see that Oak's Disciples, even though they're not getting this carbonate, has a much higher total value because they're destroying the enemy.
Yeah, so
Orbitary-
as long as they don't build a factory, it's good for us.
I don't know when we're in.
And it looks like Orbitary does not have it in their code to build factories in such constrained conditions, and these mages will continue to wreak havoc.
Okay, they got one.
And we have a factory. We have a single factory in the south.
Yeah,
But that's maybe
way too late.
Two factories.
they're building rockets.
We have rockets.
Okay.
And it looks like in the corner here, we have a set of workers who might, who are migrating to the south. Looks like Oak's Disciples has overwhelmingly won Earth. Oak's Disciples, what do you have to say about your Mars strategy?
Well, it's a very narrow map, so there's like only one way to go, basically, from our base. So I don't think there's much. Like, the only good thing we did was building factories. So apart from that, the strategy is just going to their base.
And we've seen game after game the effect that having the first factory can have. And we will see that again as Oak's Disciples just completely
So hopefully soon we can start shooting rockets
on Mars.
to Mars.
Yeah, as soon as we go to Mars.
Yeah, going.
Yeah, we have
should
some
go to
rockets,
Mars.
but I don't know if they will be enough to take them down on Mars.
And it looks like in the top right corner here, we can see Oak's Disciples slowly
rockets are
building an
all cornered.
armada
Oh,
We built
of
the rockets in a very bad
So bad.
place.
getting all of their units. You can see just this sea
Oh,
of units moving into
Oh
those
my
rockets.
God.
Now
We
they
hope
have
they get it.
eliminated
We're
Orbitary.
too spread out on Mars.
Yeah,
Are we?
Mars is way too large. Most
Yeah.
of these units are workers.
The rest of the game is going to take place on Mars. Earth has now been flooded. We can see Orbitary
Yeah,
has
I think-
primarily only
Wait.
workers. And now Oak's Disciples comes in with 7 rockets,
Yeah.
but
These are
nothing in
not-
those rockets. And Orbitary will win this match.
For something unloading. What I can see. Wow. Okay, that was close. Well played. Well played.
And next up, we have Orbitary Graph versus Blank. And I believe, is this the finals or no? This is the...
On this map again. Oh no, we are so bad at this map.
So I hope that we're gonna be like Oaks to build a
Well,
early
you get to
factory,
escape
but we will
though.
see.
Running away. Yeah. We might be able to escape again. Who knows?
And I would like to say that this is now the finals, or the finals of the losers bracket. This means that whoever wins this will go on to the actual finals, and whoever is eliminated, they will be eliminated from the entire tournament. And let's watch this match. We can see Blank expanding west, Orbitary trying both directions. Orbitary, what do you have to say about this?
So we should soon start with our first factory.
I don't think we're going to build any factories
There's the factory.
for a long time.
That's a factory. Yeah, but it's red. It's not ours.
Oh.
It looks like Blank has gotten the first factory.
We're running
They're
with
starting
knights
by
because
producing
it's so
knights.
close to enemies. So I hope that we switch to rangers soon because it's going to be really hard to find all those workers with just knights. Okay, they're the first rangers. So now the hunt begins again. But we need more factories soon, so I hope there's a second one.
We had a second factory. Orbitary Graph still not able to
but
produce any
they
factories.
started working
And
a little
Orbitary
bit
has
earlier
2
this time.
factories in the south, 3 factories.
I think we're not going to be in time there to beat them, so it might be a stalemate soon.
We might
4.
need a comeback.
And it looks like Blank has the advantage of having the first few factories, but Orbitary is coming back, now producing rangers, as these knights are not very effective in such a difficult to traverse map. Looks like Orbitary has started producing...
So in this map, we might see some blink action with mages soon if the stalemate continues for long enough. So mages are really powerful. They can basically 2-hit or 1-hit almost every unit, but they have so little health that they're mostly 1-hit themselves. So once the mages start, it's just basically who gets the mages in first and kills off a huge amount of the enemy army and has a huge advantage.
So we have Orbitary Graph getting in a lot of rockets. We can see just an armada of rockets slowly forming on their left flank. We can see Blank trying to surround them, not quite enough units.
So we're probably building our rockets at a bad place soon because our workers are off our fighting units. That's what we've seen with Oak Disciples earlier.
More rockets being built by Orbitary Graph, and no sign of rockets yet from Blank. We have 100 rounds until Earth is destroyed.
Yeah, and now we're retreating to our rockets, I think.
And now it looks like Blank is producing rockets, but doesn't have many units to actually put in those rockets anymore. Looks like Earth is going to be destroyed in now. Orbitary Graph has an overwhelming presence on Mars. Blank, not so much. Now we're going to see how Blank lands. Looks like Orbitary Graph got off a few more rockets just before the Earth was destroyed.
We don't have fighting units, so it's...
And that game will go to Orbitary Graph.
Okay.
Second game.
Oh no.
A very, very small map.
Oh.
Hi.
This is good. Yeah, this might be good for us.
Okay, so on this map you're probably going to see melee
So we're
units
probably
first.
going to rush the bottommost carbonite deposit.
All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we're going to see melee units first, so like knights that run to the enemy factories and try to kill the factory, because if you can't produce new units, then you've probably got a big advantage.
They have the first factory, which is a huge advantage, and if they build a knight, then they will kick our first factory, and the game is pretty much over.
Looks
so
like
we will see about that.
Orbitary Graph getting to the carbonate first, building their factory first, and now using knights
So
to
we
slowly
might
take
build
down the
rangers, but
enemies.
mages, but they will come too late, I guess. So
Looks like
yeah, that's pretty much
Blank's
it.
factories are all destroyed. All they have are a few workers left, one worker trying to run away, not fast enough, being chased down by these knights, and Orbitary Graph wins this match. You are now the winner of the losers bracket. This means you are progressing on to the final round. James? Okay. And now I'm going to hand it off to James.
Yes, if we win, we have to win again.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
What are you doing?
So, that was the final. That was the quarterfinals and semifinals. We're almost there. 2 teams remain. So, we're going to take a quick break and hand out some more bonus awards, because there were some teams that, while they fought valiantly, they didn't make it this far, but they just really inspired us as devs, and we wanted to do something nice for them. Now, in the interest of time, we don't have time for you all to come up, so if you're here and you get a special award, you can stand and wave. If you're watching online, you can post emotes in the chat. And as soon as I find the piece of paper, we will start. All right, so first, we always give an award to the sprint tournament winner. The sprint tournament is just the first tournament that doesn't actually have any result aside from one person wins it, and it will just calibrate the game. And that award goes to James X2, who aren't here. Up next, this year we had Discord as our chat service, which we'd never used before, and we had a channel called Battlecode Memes, and we had one user who just really unloaded the memes on us. Wait, oh, I thought I'd removed these. Okay, and that goes to Coding Hermits. And here are some of their memes. Look at all that impact. It's like 2010. Okay. Wow. We had a new component in our stack this year, which was called Docker. Now, some of our competitors reported having minor trouble with Docker. We, of course, helped them with this, but one team really stood out because this team was competing from Iran, and due to export restrictions, they could not run our Docker code. It was literally impossible for them to play the game until we made out a patch for them. So in their honor, we give the Most Trouble with Docker award to Take Your Last Tack. Now, all of our competitors that got this far made lots and lots of submissions. They made lots of little changes to their bots, tried them out, see how they went. But one team really went above the rest. The Mean Square, with 318 submissions, wins the Most Submissions award to the scrimmage server. Now we have a few community contribution awards. Battlecode is an open source competition, and people are welcome to make their own code that complements ours or work on our code themselves, and some members of the community did. The first member of the community that we want to give an award to is Mistopheles for making the Tiny Viewer, which is another viewer that's like the one you've been seeing, but, you know. Hey, Tiny Viewer was pretty awesome, so that was pretty great. Up next, for making a map maker, MCL, which was actually, this map maker was used to make some of the maps of this tournament, and it was just very great, so thank you. I'll just read off the slides. Arbitrary Graph, who you may be familiar with, made many PRs to our code, and in some cases, we're able to speed up our code by a factor of 100 by removing a bottleneck in hot code. So we thank them very much for helping us improve the game. Smiley Face with Hat made a C++ API on top of our C API, which some competitors used, and we're grateful for them for doing that. And finally, C Sharper made another viewer, the Windows viewer, which was also wonderful. So thank you, C Sharper. All right. So now, before we move on to the final match of the final tournament, we're going to finish up the newbie and high school tournaments, and I'll let you explain how this is going to work.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off with the high school tournaments. As you all know, Battlecode is a very, very large competition, and we've had an overwhelming high school presence. So if we can have Producing Perfection and How Are You So Good, please come to the stage. And in the meantime, if we can have our newbie finalists, Star Market is Moving to Mars, and Variety Meta. So they're on deck. To be clear, the high school bracket consisted of only high school teams. So these are the top 2 high school teams from the United States. And the newbie tournament consists of only MIT teams who have never competed in Battlecode before. All right, Producing Perfection, how are you so good? How are you feeling?
I have to ask them, how are you so good?
Well, we weren't supposed to be here. We were originally 3rd, but then the match got replayed, and then we're 2nd. So, yay.
And I would like to say that both of these teams have done a fantastic job. Not a lot of people learn programming in high school. And for these teams to stand such a fighting chance against seasoned college students is really amazing. All right, let's see how these teams fare against each other in the final of the high school tournament. Let's have it for both of these teams. And it looks like we have both teams expanding up from both of their corners, trying to get this carbonate. What do you guys think about your bots right now?
Our workers try to go to the closest carbonite patch, but on the sides, the closest is actually on the enemy side, so they didn't go to the center immediately.
And it looks like Producing Perfection has managed to get into that carbonate horde in the center, which is very, very rich. Looks like How Are You So Good trying to make a comeback from the corners, doing pretty well about it using their rangers. Producing Perfection has a slight lead in total value of almost 300. How are you feeling?
Hopefully we can win instead of getting destroyed like we did in the main tournament.
All right, Producing Perfection getting out there using focus fire from their rangers, trying to take over this northeastern base. Looks like How Are You So Good making a comeback by taking over the southwest. Now Producing Perfection moving on to the south. Producing Perfection taking out a factory, pulling out that corner of How Are You So Good. How Are You So Good now being limited to just this single corner of the map. Producing Perfection spreading out further. Total value increasing. They have a lead by 700 almost. How Are You So Good? Do you think you can come back from this?
No.
Producing Perfection taking out that last factory. How Are You So Good? And Producing Perfection left at a stalemate. Producing Perfection coming around from the flank, taking them out. How Are You So Good? Trying to get in on the other flank. Producing Perfection now has rockets and wandering mages. Looks like this is not going well for How Are You So Good? Congratulations, Producing Perfection. You win game 1. Game 2. All right. We have both teams getting into that carbonate horde. Producing Perfection getting, How Are You So Good? Getting the first factory. Producing Perfection a little later on the, now getting in knights, which are being taken down by rangers. How Are You So Good? Making an advance. Producing Perfection losing their last few factories. How Are You So Good? It looks like this game will go to you. And now we come to the last game of the high school tournament. Producing Perfection, you've won one of these games. How are you so good? You've won one of these games. What do you think of your opponents? And here's your map. What do you think will happen?
Wait, isn't there like another match if we win this one because it's double elimination?
That is true. So I guess so this is a match point unless, I guess How Are You So Good wins this, in which case they have to win an entirely another match. That said, let's get started. Looks like How Are You So Good getting into the center, Producing Perfection, taking a distributed approach, and now finally getting in a factory. How Are You So Good has the advantage, getting out those knights, taking down Producing Perfection's factories. Looks like Producing Perfection has one more factory in the south, which is going to be quickly taken over by How Are You So Good's knights. And How Are You So Good wins this match. However, this is a double elimination tournament, and before this, Producing Perfection had not lost a single match. Meaning, if How Are You So Good wants to win this tournament, they must now win another 2 matches. Let's see what happens.
It's sad because they get to watch us lose again.
How Are You So Good getting in there, Producing Perfection, getting into the Carbonite Horde. How Are You So Good starting off with the first factories, producing a few knights, not many though. Looks like Producing Perfection has a few, no longer has any factories, has a single mage, and How Are You So Good wins this. Congratulations. After 3 victories in a row, How Are You So Good must win one more game among these last 2, or Producing Perfection must win the last 2. Let's watch what happens. Looks like both teams starting off pretty strong and about even. Total values around the same. Both teams have 3 factories, and now both teams have taken out one of the other factories. Looks like How Are You So Good is going with higher damaging units versus Producing Perfection, which went with workers. Now taking out the last factories, How Are You So Good has 3 factories, 2 factories versus Producing Perfection's 1, and Producing Perfection making a comeback. What do you guys think?
I don't think we made a comeback.
And it looks like How Are You So Good slowly but surely gaining ground as they surround the enemy, Producing Perfection, losing their last factory, losing their last few units. Congratulations, How Are You So Good from the losers bracket, winning 4 games in a row. You are the high school champions of the entire tournament. Congratulations. Next, we have the newbie finals. Again, these 2 are MIT teams who have never competed in Battlecode before. For those of you out there who have done Battlecode before, you probably know that there's a lot that you can learn from one dev cycle. Things like what to focus on, micro, macro, predicting our own dev maps, which never are hard. All right.
And on deck, we have What Could Go Wrong and Arbitrary Graph.
And we have our 2 finalists. Star Market is moving to Mars as Variety Meta. Star Market is moving to Mars. How are you feeling? You are the newbie finalists.
So far, we haven't seen ourselves go to Mars yet, so I would like to see that.
None of your matches have gone to Mars, and you would like to see them go to Mars.
Also, today coincides with the demise of Star Market.
And Variety Meta, what about you?
I hope we'll win this match.
And again, because this is a double elimination tournament, Variety Meta must win 4 of the next games in order to win this tournament. A tall order, but one we have seen pulled off already. Let's watch. Looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, expands into the northern and the southern bars. Looks like Variety Meta doing the same, just a bit delayed, but they start off with a factory earlier. Star Market is moving to Mars, gets the center. Star Market, what do you think?
It looks all right.
And it looks like they have a bunch of factories in the middle, which they're using to harvest this rich carbonite horde in the middle. Star Market is moving to Mars, expanding, total value almost double of what Variety Meta has. Variety Meta trying to make a comeback in the bars, but nothing really can touch that large army of Star Market is moving to Mars's. Variety Meta healing up their units. Star Market is moving to Mars is now expanding and moving into Variety Meta's territory. Variety Meta trying to keep up with these healers. Both of them are at this choke point, so you can see that neither is gaining any advantage over the other team. That said, in the meanwhile, Star Market is moving to Mars is now expanding out in their middle front, which Variety Meta does not have enough units to defend. Star Market is moving to Mars, is slowly moving down, and they have reinforcements coming in. They have two flanks. Variety Meta now being crushed between both flanks. Let's see, can they defend this? We can see overcharges being used on these units to make them fight multiple times. We can see Star Market is moving to Mars, is gaining ground. They have gained ground. They are taking down Variety Meta. Star Market is moving to Mars. What do you feel?
We feel good that we're going to Mars now.
And it looks like you have rockets, and you are indeed moving to Mars. You evacuate.
We're going to Mars.
It looks like we are at round 660. There are 100 rounds left. Earth is about to be destroyed, and we have nothing yet on Mars. Star Market, which is moving to Mars, looks like it's about to move to Mars, building rockets, completely taking off their aggression. Variety Meta also building rockets, but not as many combat units. Star Market is moving to Mars, has the early advantage of having some units down.
Star Market has reached Mars.
Congratulations! And it looks like we have rockets in transit, which are immediately destroyed by this initial front that Star Market moved. Looks like Variety Meta has a little more breathing room this time, but not as many units. Oh, and we have an entire armada from Star Market. Star Market, what do you have to say?
So our sales are pretty good on Mars.
All right, looks like Star Market now and Variety Meta are now about equally matched. And we are at round 1,000, the only match in this entire tournament to make it to round 1,000. And for those of you that don't know, at round 1,000, the unit value determines a victor. Looks like Star Market is moving to Mars, wins this game. But, again, we are in a match. Variety Meta still has a chance. And we have both in the center. Star Market is moving to Mars, quickly gaining an advantage as they gather more carbonate. Variety Meta, a little slower on the uptake, getting out those factories just a tad too late. Star Market hitting with a night rush. Star Market is moving to Mars. You are officially the champions of the newbie tournament. Congratulations. And now, the moment that you all have been waiting for. Can we have What Could Go Wrong and Orbitary Graph come to the stage? And can we have a round of applause for our final two teams of Battlecode 2018? What round is this? So, both of you have seen each other play. Orbitary, what are you feeling? Variety Meta, what are you feeling? I mean, not, what could go wrong? We're working on it.
All right. We
need to.
If you recall, there was another tournament during this Battlecode where we were in the finals and we were up from the winners bracket, and we had 2-0'd Arbitrary Graph, and we know what happened then. So
we lost twice to them, so we lost because it's double elimination. So I mean, we have 2 chances, but I don't think that's enough. Did he laugh at that?
Yeah, because he was like, oh shit. Maybe if we get some memory issues.
This is not it.
With it, you know,
This is 9-0?
We'll see.
1 moment, we are getting up this match. Shoot, I pressed the wrong button.
Oi, oi, oi!
And I would like to just say that these two teams have come so far.
Yeah, they have 0 minutes.
Nope. So, how are you guys all feeling?
Oh, us or them?
Who here is rooting for Orbitary Graph? What about what could go wrong?
This map. It's a good map for us. Maybe. Or we're still going to die.
This is a pretty interesting map where the middle squares will have a lot of value.
Which is probably good for us, maybe.
I would say that we would just rush to the middle and then start building factories there. That could be really bad and it could be pretty good. So I'm not
All
sure.
right. In our last match of Battlecode 2018 that will determine the victor.
Unless we lose this? This is double elimination though, so if we lose this.
Oh, well.
Yeah, sorry.
Last match up. All right, what could go wrong? You need to win just this match. Orbitary Graph, you need to win too. Do you think you can do this?
No, not really.
Neither do we.
And one thing we have seen very, very consistently in Battlecode is the amount of faith that these competitors have in their bots. I have not seen a single one doubt their bot ever. All right. Maybe this is a little too slow. And we have both teams moving towards the middle, Orbitary Graph getting into that center carbonite horde very quickly. Looks like Orbitary has the first few rockets, or factories, but what could go wrong has them distributed more, and we're gonna see how this turns out. Orbitary Graph, now with the Knights. Orbitary Graph, what are you feeling?
This looks good, I think. We are taking down the factory.
Oh no.
Oh no, they got a new factory. Crap.
Oh no.
What could go wrong? What are you thinking?
I think the advantage is a bit too big at this point.
For us to lose.
Yeah.
And it looks like the total value of Orbitary Graph is steadily increasing. There's only 2 factories left, 1 factory left, and it looks like what could go wrong is backed into a corner, and Orbitary Graph wins game 1.
Okay, 1 to go, only 2 left.
So I think our main mistake was not getting out our first factory fast enough, because it looks like Orbitary Graph got their first factory out first, and that was definitely a big advantage.
Actually, it's because they got the carbonite first at the center.
That is also true.
And again, we have a map where we have heavily concentrated carbonate in the center. We have seen Orbitary Graph on many maps like this. What could go wrong? What do you think will happen with this carbonate?
If they build a factory in the very middle, that could be a disadvantage. But I think they will get to the carbonite in the center first.
All right, let's watch. What could go wrong? Moving towards the center. Orbitary Graph also moving towards the center. Orbitary Graph and what could go wrong are now both in the center. No. What could go wrong? Both teams have factories in the center. Oh no, only red factories are in the center. Oh. What could go wrong has the center. Orbitary Graph trying to make a comeback on the northeastern side. What could go wrong? Chasing them down. Orbitary Graph making their way back. What could go wrong? Trying to eliminate the southeastern corner, which is not actually very valuable. Orbitary Graph using this time to build up their army. Orbitary, what are you feeling?
This is not going great, but we might make a comeback. Who knows? Like if we can survive until we get like good mages with Blink, we have them surrounded. And they have us surrounded too. No, we're on both sides.
And we can just see these healers backing up these frontline rangers. Neither team can make a dent in the other side.
Orbitary sort of came behind us.
Oh, and it looks like Orbitary coming around the back with mages.
Right, just 2-1.
One more chance.
Remember that although mages are destroyed very quickly, if you can distract the opponent using your own units, then mages can make a devastating toll on the enemy army. And Orbitary, you have won this match. This means that we are progressing on to match 2. Between Orbitary Graph and what could go wrong. This is the last match of this entire tournament. This is the last match of Battlecode 2018. Can we get a round of applause? Can we get some hype?
thing to point out is that round 225 is the turning point because Orbitary Graph will unlock an ability called Overcharge, which allows you to tell a healer to use their active ability, which lets a unit move more than once in a turn. And they use this much more effectively than we do, and it will push back our front line if there is one.
So for those of you who don't know the rules, every unit has an active ability that can be used to produce special effects in the game, one of which is Overcharge, which healers can use, which immediately allows a unit to act again, even if they acted on the same turn. This means that any unit can become doubly effective, but only if used well. All right, both teams, what are you feeling?
There's a single carbonite.
They're faster to get to the carbonite.
For some reason, we should be fast, but we are not as fast as them.
All right.
But we're going to rush that carbonite anyway.
The world is watching, and let's start.
Okay. Oh, now we're red.
Orbitary Graph moving in towards the, trying to get to the carbonate. What could go wrong? Starting off with the first factory. Orbitary Graph getting into the carbonate horde. You can see their total value shooting up as they replicate. What could go wrong? Now has the first few factories. Orbitary Graph has tons of factories against what could go wrong. Almost just the unit value is almost 3 times as Orbitary Graph now comes in with their offensive force. What could go wrong has absolutely no income of carbonate except for their steady income, which is very low. Orbitary Graph slowly taking up that carbonate mine. But it looks like what could go wrong's micro is very effective.
Not until they have Overcharge, which they do now, and you'll see.
And they now have Overcharge, and we can see as both teams are moving in, these green flashes indicate overcharging. And what could go wrong? Pushed to their corner. 320 rounds in. Orbitary Graph wins this game. And unlike the earlier matches, we can see that now we really see the effect that having a variety of units can cause. We've seen knights, we've seen mages, we've seen rangers, and all of them used to deadly effect.
I think this might work well.
This is now
one of them.
A match point. Fine. All right. Looks like Orbitary making their way towards the center. What could go wrong? Trying to get up these star carbonites. Orbitary making their factories. What could go wrong? Choosing 2 points of the star. Orbitary not fully harvesting up that mine in the center. What could go wrong? Trying to take over. Both unit values are roughly the same. Looks like Orbitary Graph has just a bit more. They're pulling ahead, and it looks like Orbitary Graph spreading out from the center. What could go wrong? What are you thinking?
It looks like we shouldn't be here. We didn't win a single match.
We tried.
Orbitary Graph, you are just devastating the enemy. You're pulling into the last corner. Orbitary Graph now has a 3 times lead in total value. It looks like this game can only go one way. And Orbitary Graph is our Battlecode 2018 finalist. And Orbitary Graph, what could go wrong? If you can both please take a bow as the semifinalists and as the finalists. Just take a bow towards the stage. Yes.
Oh. It's fine.
And congratulations, Orbitary. I believe this is their 2nd year running. You are the winners of Battlecode 2018. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we're pretty good. Really didn't think it would go this well. We thought we would lose 4 times at least, we went to the losers bracket so early and had to fight lots of great teams, and really didn't expect to do this well.
Yeah. Yeah, and like those really tricky maps with thin corridors, where we didn't build any factories. Yeah, we were so worried, but it worked out. So yeah.
Great. All right. Well, congratulations to Arbitrary Dev. I want to thank our sponsors once again for making this all possible. I want to thank MIT AV, CAC Video Production, and the Student Activities Office for supporting our club and making this event here possible, so thank you. We are the devs. Stand up. Come out, come out. All right, now bow. We hope you all enjoyed Battlecode 2018, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
And lastly, special thanks to Waterflame, who provided all of the music that we used tonight.
All right. So yeah, you guys can go now.
Congratulations to all finalists. That was fantastic.